for equality's sake, I guess I did learn some lessons about hardship. The lessons I've learned include non-judgmentalness, patience, over the time since I've left school, instead of judging someone's reaction or something someone says within like a second, you can take time, an extra 5 minutes to ponder what that person said and what that person means. Make a habit of doing that, and then you can get a greater understanding of the rules of communication and of socialness. You learn patience and understanding and in communication and in relationships. And stuff like that. What else have I learned? So I take that I've made gains. I'm willing to accept that my company is a balancing factor. In consideration of, having lost initially when I was studying in school. I kind of wanted something like a Yolanda Adams story. She went to school, got her degree, taught, and then moved into the entertainment industry, becoming a famous singer or whatever. But I kind of, that didn't happen, obviously. And so I'm willing to accept that the growth that has happened since then. Positive journey. Learned some lessons in dieting and about maintenance. You'll see in one of my videos where I talk about BMI. I've learned some lessons in that. I've learned, that's a couple things. Of course, I was learning about music prior to that. During that time, living in New York City is such a musical place. I've lived there for like 3 or 4 years. I'm still living there. I count myself a resident of both states and both cities. So I've definitely learned musically. Having been right out of school, I was writing music, and I was like, my goal is, who am I writing music for? What am I writing music for? I'm not writing music for like some sing-along in some children's classroom, some kindergarten classroom, and leave it at that. I mean, eventually, maybe to get to that point. But I'm writing for like the next biggest star in the world. Bring me 100 million for this song, type thing. So, perform it on. Let it sell, 100 million or 200 million in sales. Why not, Plus merchandising and touring, not just the album. So it's definitely a conquerable number. I left out some things, but downloads and stuff. But yeah, that's what I was thinking, and not just in just numbers, but in the actual message of the song and the actual tonal structure and the strength of the music. But hopefully it would infuse strength within communities and within hearts and people. And so I wrote song after song with that goal in mind for each of them, whether it had been a rock song or country or pop, R&B, hip hop or whatever like that, but gospel. So that's what I was doing in New York when I first got there. Couldn't find a job or a place or anything. I just left school and, quite frankly, had been put out of the university school program. I had still been working in the church till I had resigned, but I kept working on music, and so that's what I was doing. So that's my music part of my music library, and yep. It's funny, I was just talking about India, and I figured they were from India, but then they came and I'm like, and India is such a large place, it's like 1 billion people that live there, but yeah, so I really like that number, billion. Trillion's even better. Yeah. Motherfucker, I'm ill. You couldn't spell trillion without ill. You couldn't spell trillion without ill. Right there, 2, 3, 5 of the word. Well, 3, 4, 5 of the word. 1, 2, ill. 1, 2, ill, ion. Necessarily my tempo, but and I'm not arranging and stuff right now, so they've decided to take the bridge. It's good. It's peaceful out here though. I will mention that. I like it. I'm supposed to be doing some other stuff. I'm making videos. I came out here. I'm off work. You ain't supposed to be getting videos from me. I'm supposed to be chilling, communicating on a different level. Not business. I want to know the truth, but people like their privacy. I certainly do. And so do you. So I say you don't. Hey, how are you? But they also like their publicity too, and so do I. So feel free to tag that line. And yeah. But yeah, it's a great day. It's a great day and a great way. Look at them on that bridge over there. They walked all the way over that bridge to take pictures. Yeah. I don't have to look pretty all the time because some people aren't pretty. So you have to be able to take on other people's ugliness. They say when in Rome, act as Romans do. So when with ugly people, why not accept that you won't look the beautifulest sometimes? Just deal with it. You know, the the rules of energy is that, kinetic energy, which is, like, I think if I remember reading it right, for you high schoolers, you should know that, has to do with movement. So just deal with it. Sometimes, the stars, you see them on TV, they look perfect, but they don't look perfect all the time. They cut out a lot of stuff, cut out a lot of pictures. They didn't put all the pictures up. I do sometimes, but I take out some pictures sometimes too. I'm sure he was not unattractive all the time, but it just happened to have been in that moment. Thank you. So, he's with his mom and dad. That's sweet. Okay. I'm spilling the tea on camera. Y'all don't know who I'm talking about. I mean, that could be the uncle. Yes, I need to brush my teeth. Talking about people. Wow. It's getting on my nerves. Just do what I said do. You know what I was thinking out today? And I was thinking about the people the people in foreign lands that are live in deserted lands, and they are refugees in other people's countries, and at some point the country's like, we can't take any more people in. So I'm thinking, like, if you look on the news and you see, like, all of these people that 2 years ago they were refugees leaving Syria or whatever land where there was some type of, somebody broke the law, somebody tried to take over the government, and now you have all of these refugees that are, fleeing from the new regime or whatever. And so you see them crossing through this desert. And so if you look at the reforestation videos that I show in my blog, if you go to the think tank and you go to the blog, you'll look at some of the other entries besides the think tank, which you can chime in on, and you'll see a link to that reforestation video where the experiments have been done that if you go into the desert, in 20 years the desert could look like that, just based on building trees. If you cut streets through that, you can have homes where people aren't destroyed, or they don't have to wear the face covers because of sandstorms and all of the other negative effects of the desert. And it's just so that area is secured, so that regime, whoever took over their land, can't come over take over their new land. It should be a great way. You can put homes there, which obviously I would like to build high-end homes to afford my own, but I certainly am the type of person that would love to help out people, and especially people in need, and I would love to get the money to be able to build 1,000 or 2,000 homes a year. At the end of my lifetime, my company, I could have helped 100,000 families, or just giving them homes and stuff, where that money directed to my company to distribute. That's me, this one right here. So yeah, and that's what I would do. It's like all of India's out here today. I'm just joking. I'm not racist. A little ignorant sometimes, especially when I'm at home in Raleigh, but certainly only joking. So yeah. But yeah, it could look like this. Look at the videos. I'm not saying it'll look like that in 3 years. It depends on the breed of tree, and you can only do so much with sand. But if you look at that land, you say, whose land are they crossing? They've obviously left Syria. Now they're crossing some land, or maybe no one's land, and can we use that space versus taking them into our country? Not that we're being like mean or facetious or anything, but I mean the obvious reason that there are population limits. So like, if you put homes there, right there, and I mean there are tests. I study architecture. I have a business, a real estate company, and You know, I do know some things about real estate, about home building, and about, you know, a lot of stuff that, I've learned, having my company. And so I know, building on that is on sand is definitely has a different requirement tests that and formulas that are used as far as what type of material you would use and how deep the foundation might have to be, and um, what you might have to mix with that sand or whatever. There are formulas for you know tension and stresses and what that particular uh, material, what that particular foundation can take, but it's possible. So it's just a matter of using the right materials, using the right type of concrete, or mixing the right type of concrete with sand or rocks or whatever formula of concrete and cement that you would use to build that particular home, and use whatever foundation that would go along with it based on the ground basically. But yes, um, it can be done. So why not do that? Why not do that? Yeah. Again, you can check me out at www.dcwdcw.com, and can you will learn there that um, that uh, the options. Somebody left a headband out or something. But that's not what I'm really trying to do. I want to build high-end homes, but I hope that my suggestions will get to someone. The same way I say that New York City should line the streets with trees. I say 100% of the 5 boroughs, well, not all 5, because Richmond County, that's Staten Island, doesn't necessarily need them. But the Bronx, Queens, and Manhattan, as well as Brooklyn, I think would benefit from tree outlines, sidewalks, and at least 60% of the sidewalks in the city. I mean, that's all buildings and residences. There aren't anything else except parks. It's all businesses and residences and high rises and low rises. But I think the greenery there would just bring a tranquility that like we're experiencing right now, much further, and it will add an extra degree of privacy to the city. I think that the residents and tourists will appreciate, so if I would say 10 feet, 10 feet, between 10 feet between each tree or something. I don't know how far each of those posts are between each other. I'd say at least 6 feet. But I would say, like, for the trees, maybe 6 feet, because you figure once they grow and the leaves begin to grow, that they're gonna spread, and then you'll have to have tree people out, which is gonna create jobs for some companies there, which is great. But either way, there has to be a certain limit of space and tree, but for the trees that they will plant there. And of course, people would still need walking room, and so that would be good. But so yeah. Yep, I did. Because if they line those streets, I think it will just be more peaceful for the residents. And it's so overcrowded in some neighborhoods of the Bronx and stuff like that. But to me, the Bronx is really like rugged, and I don't know. I think, but that lining each of those streets, not just in the Jewish neighborhood, or not just in the 200s, but the South Bronx and all of the impoverished neighborhoods, so to say, those trees would definitely help the atmosphere, make it more peaceful, and just so as long as you have to enforce laws that people will respect the nature. Since it's for them ultimately, it's like it's yours, but you can't destroy it, or you'll. That's not okay. So. Yeah. The thunder is certainly not as strong as it could be, but I don't know why am I making such a long video. Do you guys want to hear from me? I plan on being here a very long time, and yeah, but I don't plan on videoing a long time. You shouldn't see me for a long time. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I mean business. What's the definition of mean? It could mean several things. It could mean several things if you know what I mean. I'm not saying two M's. I'm not saying I'm mean. I'm saying I mean. I'm actually reading a book right now by Beyonce. No, it's not by Beyonce. It's actually by David Lee Brewer, and he's writing about. Actually, he was Beyonce's vocal coach. I think he lived in the Knowles house for like a decade or something. He was their vocal coach. But yeah, it's a really interesting story that he had that's there about that particular situation. So I'm reading that. I'm finishing up the Visual Dictionary of Architecture for my company and stuff like that. So I think it's interesting. Both of those are interesting reads. And then the last one is Marjorie Klein's book. I'm trying to buy her house. So I'm reading her book because even after I buy the house and she's not there, I think I'm gonna want her book on the study. It's just like a common courtesy, especially when someone has such an amazing piece of art that hopefully I can purchase and live in for the rest of my life, or till I'm 116 and then I die or whatever, like year 2100 or whatever. That I'll have her book on the bookshelf, as well as maybe like her husband's. I don't think he has a book out, but he was a naval general. Actually, he's a 5-star. No, not a 5-star. He was an admiral. He was an admiral. So it was as an admiral, he was pretty high up there, almost to like the top of the Navy. So I would like to have like some biography with his bio in there. I don't know if they're gonna buy another house or what their plans are, but it's been on sale since 2014, and I've wanted it since I found it in 2015, and I've been constantly working on trying to purchase it since I created my company, in 2017. So for these like CEOs and churches and stuff, like they have like parsonages for the pastor, or the CEO might have a certain stipend, even though he might make $60 million a year. There might be like a million or two allotted for his residents. So if that's how companies work, especially corporations, why can't my corporation work like that from the start? Well, the answer is it can, and it does. And so as a CEO, I've picked my home. And for myself, and that's exactly what's going on, is that I'm trying to finance that. Of course, I still want to sell products. I could play the lottery. I could try to get it by winning the lottery. But there's several options. They say white people like options, and I'm like, well, so do I. It's crazy, but so yeah. So what's the energy factor of the camera? Obviously, this wall is disgusting. That's certainly not helping how I feel right now. With all these spider webs, and it hasn't been clean in forever. But this is as peaceful as I thought it would be. Camera's adding a little weight. The camera's actually adding a little bit of depression to it. But I love me some Johnson Lake. Always have. So, yeah. But yeah, those are some things that I hope for. And there's a concession stand over there. There's some girl over there, and she's selling stuff, like food and stuff. But nobody's here, or is anybody here? There's people loaded up there. I don't know. I do not make videos of my personal life. I am not a reality star. I'm not looking to be a reality star. I'll let you know. The fact that you guys know that I'm gay, and I don't use the term gay, so I'm not gay. I'm actually LGBTQ, or not even that. I'm lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer transgender gay. So that's what I am. I'm lesbian, queer, transgender, gay. No, lesbian, bisexual, LGBTQ. Lesbian, gay, transgender, LGBTQ. Okay, OGB. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, gay. Lesbian, bisexual, gay, transgender, queer, gay. That's what Davon is lesbian, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, gay, queer, gay, whatever the order is. I could learn it and come back and give it to you. But that's what I am. It's a lot longer as far as the actual definition of it. So it's not just G-A-Y gay anymore. It's a lot more. So don't be so quick to judge. I can work with anyone. Of course, the homosexuals, heterosexuals, and anybody. As far as work and careers are concerned, yes, I love money. I love community. I love I don't love of money. I love money. So, yeah. And such. But that's what I am. Oh my God, what was up? It's getting on my nerves, whatever it is. Those doors. Why do I was gonna turn the camera around, but I'm gonna make a disclaimers because I can. Ever since I learned what a disclaimer was my freshman year of college, I make disclaimers. So let me make another disclaimer. I was not gonna have the camera turned this way, like facing me, but I had to say something, so I did. But actually, I wanted to have it on in the other direction, so that you guys could see the lake. And I'm gonna turn the camera off because I don't want to get anyone else's way. This is a public facility, and it needs to stay that way so that it's open. If this were my house, my home, and this is my lake, then it'd be one thing. You know, somebody come over here, I could shoot the shit out of them. They're like, you're not supposed to be on my fucking property, or some shit like that. But since this is public, it's open to all, and we need both types of places in our world, don't we? Yes, we do. You like my box braids? I did them myself. Can you tell the color pattern? I don't think you can. What kind of, yeah, if it was my boo, I wouldn't shoot the shit out of my boo. Like, I know you were there. Bought this place for the two of us, or I bought this place for me, and then I met you, and now, we're together, so I was expecting you. But some random stranger, out of here. I'll even come to the funeral afterwards and sing at your funeral. And then after the funeral, I will come to the gravesite and watch them lower the body into the ground as the family members cry, or not cry in case you don't have any family. Or maybe you have family and they just decide not to show up. But, yeah, I do that. I would do that. So, what the fuck? Yeah, but back to the story about, me getting in trouble. But it never happened had I not, been wrongfully dismissed 2 weeks earlier from college. I had made straight A's. I was planning on buying a house soon, teaching in grade school or whatever. Making enough that I could be independent. But that was stripped from me my senior year of college, and then a week or two later I got into some trouble. So things happen, you can't assume that they don't. But, yeah. There's my computer. So things happen for a reason. Just me, myself, and I'll be fine in my house with my damn self. I don't need nobody else for the rest of my life, for the next 100 years. Yep. Security. She does not want, and I'm referring to myself, my pronouns for you LGBT people. They ask you at the LGBT center, what are your pronouns? He, him, his, she, her, or hers, or them, they, and theirs, or whatever. Mine is he, him, his, and she, her, and hers. So both. Maybe it has to do with where I'm from. Maybe it has to do with me growing up, and I understand that there are people that are different. I respect that as well. So, I don't know. Just this game of life that we're at. Hurry up, man. Line up. It's supposed to be cold, but it's not supposed to be cold. The weather, I'm about to find out the weather for you guys. It's not supposed to be freezing, but I'm gonna get my pants wet. Some people like you to open the door for them that shouldn't be open. Come on, somebody, talk about it. No, I'm about to take y'all to church. Like, what is taking so long? A man is whatever a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Those are some pretty trees. And look at the color. Look at the colors. How they're red and green over there. You see red and green. So that's cool. There's my Wi-Fi. No, I'm not layering it for you for free. You crazy? I charge a lot of money for that. Check me out, www.dcwecw.com. If you need a cheaper one, I got some recommendations for you. There's a lot of guys in this town, and I'm sure in every town, that does it for a lot cheaper. But I have the right to charge what I want to charge and what I think I'm worth. And what I work for. Come on now. Somebody. Let me see something. I have the right to my pursuit of happiness. Come on. Now. I ain't gonna yell it and holler it like I used to when I was a child, but you get the point. Yeah, load on up. It is getting a little bit cold out here. I wonder what CA is doing in New York right now. Ain't no telling. Ugh. Oh, I didn't mean to call him CA. His name is Sky. I should have been calling him Sky, but I guess I was so selfish at one point that I wasn't hearing what he was saying, and maybe he wasn't hearing what I was saying, but I am okay. So it's connected now, and let's see, what did I want to do? I'm about to get off here so I can check my messages. So I can check my messages. Yeah, they need to clean these spider webs off this wall. Ew. If I was with Angela right now, I'd be like, Angela, you remember when we was in 9th grade? She would see somebody and she'd be like, ew. That was like the thing 9th grade year for like at least the two of us or the three of us and my boyfriends. Ew. Look at these webs. That is disgusting. You see it? Oh, can you see it? Where's this camera at? Can I see it? I don't know if the camera can pick it up. It's right there. Do you see it? You see that web right there? You can't see it from back here, right? That is clearly a web. All over. You can see a certain degree of them, but it's a degree that this camera cannot see. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's disgusting. Check it out. Look at that. Yeah, look, I love my team. Thank you. She loves her, okay? That I know about myself. And so I just wanted to let you know that. And so you might have all types of judgment about her, but she still loves her all by herself. Thank you. She knows what's good, and she knows how to give good direction. And she knows, like, all of that stuff. So what are you saying? I'm saying I'm the best. That's what I'm saying. And he loves him too. The other guy. And I love it's two of me. So her and it's him. Actually, they're both combined. There's no difference. It's going to switch in and out when they want to. Look, there's checks for getting ill. You can either take the cheap $732 one. $732 one that the government will give you. It's called Social Security. Or you can take the big ill check called billionaire or trillionaire. I'll take the trillionaire one. I'll direct my ill energy into making ill music, or gotta be sick to have music. No, I'm just playing. But she knows that, and But the other thing is also that, or you could direct that energy to getting mad and fighting for a good cause for the people of the world. So yeah, I don't know. Just like the lake, it's getting on people's nerves. Just like the lake. So here she is. That is getting on people's nerves. Yeah. Call me Diva, because that's my name. Sometimes I am a diva. Sometimes she is a diva. I would not do drag because I'm accepting for you guys that don't know the gay community. I'll teach you a little bit. I can't teach you all because it's a lot of them that can teach you more than I do. But what I do know about myself, and I can talk about myself, even though I know I am a she, my pronoun is she sometimes, and this is her. But I would not do drag other than like Halloween, and I would do the nicest drag, so I would be the prettiest girl in the group. Okay, you guys that aren't from here don't know this, but when Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child came to Shirley Caesar's church, and I was there that Sunday a long time ago when Pastor Caesar was promoting her album, and I was a kid, and I would go there sometimes. My neighbor actually still is her drummer, her church drummer. My parents' neighbor, like, he lived across the street from us, but so at some point in my life when I was 13 or something, he took me there. And I just started going to church with her. She's a famous worldwide superstar with 13 Grammys or 11 Grammy Awards or whatever. So like everything's super tight there. But her shows are, like people she brings and her guests and stuff. So she had Michelle Williams was there one Sunday. They have a duet together, Still Away or whatever. So, speaking of still, what do you think about mixing metal with wood? Talk about a home design. Check me out, www.dcwdcw.com. But yeah, so she was there, and the outfit she wore was amazing. That's what I would wear. That's the type of drag I would do. That one day a year that I would do drag. That's exactly what I would wear. I would find that exact outfit. And if you guys can't find the video, then I'm sorry. I don't feel like trying to describe it. It's like this rainbow dress, shoulder to feet dress with the perfect belt, brown belt, like wood brown, but it was leather. And then her boots. Somehow, I knew her boots. I don't know if she raised her dress on the service. I can't remember. It's like a dream. But her boots came to her upper thighs, and they matched her belt, but they were high heel boots, so they were like 6 inches, but like, let's see, off of like this high off of the ground, the boots, and this thin heel, and then her bag was just over. It was just unstoppably just everything. And then her hair was done perfectly, and then her chains matched, and her skin was perfect, and teeth, and her earrings matched the bag, belt, and belt. No, the bag, belt, and boots. Did the bag match? The bag was